And hello, and welcome to the final round of the World Magic Cup qualifier. This is round 9. On the left, Matt Hoey. On the right, Jonathan Habel. Matt Hoey playing black-white midrange. Jonathan Habel playing white-black mid-range, if you will. The other deck, the Soldier of the Pantheon Precinct Captain Brimaz Desecration Demon deck.
Yeah, a little more aggro, a little more attacky. This is a Soldier of the Pantheon Precinct Captain version of black-white.
Yeah, this is what we saw Zvi Mauschwitz playing and that group of Pantheon, as opposed to Matt Hoey playing the other side of what Pantheon was playing.
And he's coming out to a great start. He has the turn 1 Soldier of the Pantheon and the turn 2 Precinct Captain, following it up with a Thoughtseize. Hoey responds by killing the Precinct Captain with a Bioblight, and then loses his Blood Baron, leaving only one Desecration Demon in hand.
Lots of land. So whatever he gets to, he can cast any spell in his deck once he's gotten to that point.
Yeah, a little too much land.
A little too much land. One of the things I do love seeing in Hoey's deck is Nightveil Spectre.
Yeah.
I know that last year at the SCG Open, I had built the white-black mid-range with Nightveil Spectre and Elspeth, and you can definitely do it, and it's even easier now. On the table, we got another Precinct Captain. Here they come. Precinct plus Soldier.
Yep, they're getting it in for 4.
This demon is, I think, going to start gobbling up soldiers, but they're going to keep being replaced.
Yeah, it's not a great answer to this board right now.
Even if Jonathan had removal, he wouldn't need it.
Looks like he just added a Brimaz to his hand.
And tap you down, demon. Here comes the Mutavault as well, in for 6. Plus, a soldier joins the table, and if he wants to, a Brimaz can as well.
This deck's also a lot like the deck that Chapin and Reitzel played at Pro Tour Thuros.
This is true as well. And Elspeth, it's a great card, but it's too late, and Matt Hoey has already lost Game 1 to Jonathan Habel.
That was quick and brutal.
What? Soldier into Precinct Captain into Precinct Captain. It's a good start.
There's a lot less of a Thoughtseize into aggro than you would think. You know, it's kind of odd actually in Standard that isn't done more often because you know you Thoughtseize, then you put down a quick clock. It's hard for it's going to be hard for some decks to recover from that.
We go to the sideboards. These two players. What has Jonathan Habel got going?
Well, for this matchup, he has Blood Baron of Viscopa, which is probably coming in for sure. He has more duress action, 3 more duresses, so he can go up to a full 7 against this mono black deck if he wants to. Plus the 4 Thoughtseizes he already has. Other than that, I'm not sure if the Banishing Lights, Devouring Light, or Banishing Priest, Devouring Lights, and Lifebane Zombies are going to be part of the plan. He also has 1 Deicide. But I kind of, maybe Devouring Light will come in, but I'm not sure I see it.
Devouring Light is an interesting card. We haven't really seen it in play very often since it's been printed again. And I think one of the things that's really just interesting about it is that with a Brimaz deck, it's much easier to cast your Devouring Light.
Yeah, it's probably free almost all the time, right?
Matt Hoey, on the other hand, has 2 Drown in Sorrow that he's going to be able to bring in. And even though the Doomblades don't hit every creature in Jonathan Habel's deck, they hit enough creatures that I would certainly expect his 4 Doomblades to come in. He also, it's interesting, he had crossed off a 3 on his Drown in Sorrow and crossed off a 3 on his Duress to fit room for what looks like 2 Lifebane Zombies into his sideboard. Lifebane Zombie, when he's on the play, can get there before a Brimaz can sometimes. And it can also get cards like Obsidian, and if he's concerned about cards like Blood Baron, that's another thing they can get. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those cards.
Before the tournament, I told Matt Hoey to take the Lifebane Zombies out of his deck. I guess he listened to me, you know. It's the first time for everything.
Yeah, those Lifebane Zombies, you actually see that he crossed them off of his main deck list and replaced them with Nightveil Specters. So I guess you did have that impact there.
I'm an influential guy.
If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with Brian Kowal. On the left, Matt Hoey. He's going to be on the play this game. He's lost game 1 to Jonathan Habel. And looking at that opening hand, it's not so good. Draws a couple more just to see. Even 9 cards isn't enough, so I guess he's got to go down to 6.
This is a bad matchup for Hoey. It kind of feels that way. Maybe it's just because he had beat so hard in the first game, but
I mean, I think it's an interesting matchup. In a lot of ways, Jonathan Habel's list, it kind of reminds me of a more resilient version of the black aggro lists when they were being played against the black devotion lists, in the sense that they try to go lower on the curve, but instead of running just kind of random bears, you get to have Precinct Captain and Brimaz.
And Pack Rat.
Well, the Pack Rats are just awesome, obviously. Both of these decks have their 4 Pack Rats. The black-white mid-range on the one side, and then the white-black mid-range aggro on the other side. 6 cards. Let's see what we got. Lifebane Zombie, Thoughtseize, land. We're going to start off with that turn 1 Thoughtseize. What you got? Precinct Captain, Thoughtseize, Bile Blight. I think that you either take the Precinct Captain or the Thoughtseize, depending on what's in your hand.
Precinct Captain feels like the way to go. Like he can. Hoey's gonna have more time to recover. You take. Yeah, I don't know.
It just depends really on what he values. Does he value one of those cards in his hand? Or does he want to just get the clock out of there? He goes with the clock.
It looks like he has a lot of lands in his hand, which I think points to the threat.
Another Thoughtseize. And there's a 3 damage to get that Thoughtseize. See a Banishing Light, Lifebane Zombie, and land.
Thoughtseize is a nice defense mechanism to Lifebane Zombie if you're the white aggro deck.
He goes with Banishing Light.
Dude, for real? Do my Drowning Sorrow?
Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Mutavault. Okay.
He's going to take the Lifebane Zombie and leave the Drowning Sorrow in Hoey's hand.
These Thoughtseizes have taken their toll on Jonathan Habel's life. Jonathan now down to 14. Pack Rat off the top. Who cares if you just draw what you need? There is a Bile Blight, and then he just drew a Hero's Downfall. Attack for 2, pass the turn. In for 1. Pass the turn back.
Hoey's deck almost looking more like the beatdown deck in this game.
I think that's where things are at with this, but attack for 2, says Jonathan Habel.
Well, you mull to 5, you do what you can.
Planes into Soldier of the Pantheon.
Hoey makes a rat. And swings right in there. So Hoey's going to attack for 4, knock Jonathan down to 9 already. I guess 2 Thoughtseizes and a Mana Confluence will do some damage to your life total. Hoey waiting for blocks. It does not know about the Bile Blight in Jonathan Habel's hand, I don't believe, but is holding back, not making the 3rd rat. So playing around that card wisely. Jonathan plays a Mutavault.
Perfect mana, always perfect.
Looks like he's thinking. And he's kind of in a odd position because being the aggro deck and not having many threats, he can't really play as a control deck forever because what's he gonna draw? He's probably just gonna draw more small creatures. Hoey makes a 3rd rat at the end of Jonathan's turn. Oh, and Jonathan cannot actually Bile Blight.
He doesn't have the
black
black
mana. He doesn't have the 2nd black mana.
Okay, in come the rats. The Bile Blights are just totally stuck there in Jonathan Habel's hand. We get some Mutavaults. We get a mass block going on here just to stem the bleeding. That Hero's Downfall in Jonathan Habel's hand is going to be pretty devastating. Goodbye, team.
Go.
And 3 damage to boot. Jonathan Habel basically near the end of the game. There we go.
No black source. Hoey come from behind.
One of the things about these two-color decks. One of the things about these two-color decks is that sometimes, despite everything, the mana just doesn't work out. Jonathan Habel, 2 mana confluence, 4 Godless Shrine, 4 Temple, 4 Caves of Koilos. 2 Urborg to help out on the color fixing.
Yeah, it looks like plenty of black mana, but just didn't show up for him this game.
Okay, if you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with Brian Kowal. Matt Hoey takes game 2 after falling in game 1. Jonathan Habel kind of in the a reversal of the first game. Jonathan Habel, game 1, came out really strong, very aggressive, and this time he was languishing, not really able to cast his spells, and sitting back where a single pack rat hits the table, and then just a couple of activations and it's over.
Yeah, they each started out with fairly mana-heavy hands, Hoey in game 1 and Jonathan in game 2, and that's just kind of the thing that Thoughtseize feasts upon.
Yeah, and the other thing to remember as well is that when you're playing these decks that kind of have a lot of color, like Precinct Captain, white-white, Bile Blight, black-black, there is, I think, a greater risk of things like that not quite working out. And the thing that's interesting about this black-white mid-range list that Matt Hoey is playing is he does not have the early white requirements at all. And if you actually, going through his entire list, he has his white at double doesn't happen until way late in the game in the form of Elspeth Sun's Champion. On the other hand, Jonathan Habel, he's got a white base in his white-black mid-range aggro list where he's got double white on Precinct Captain, double white on Brimaz, and then double black on Desecration Demon, Bile Blight, and Hero's Downfall, and double white on Najani. There's just a lot more that he's trying to do with his mana pushing-wise.
Right, yeah, needing that early game. His mana has to perform in those first 3 turns.
And the game has started.
Looks like no mulligans. Jonathan starts with a Scry, sending his top card to the bottom. Hoey plays a Godless Shrine tapped. Habel replies with a pack rat on his turn.
Doomblade, not going to do much to a pack rat, but there is, I think, a Devour Flesh in Matt Hoey's hand. Yes, 1 life for your rat. And it looks like there's a Lifebane zombie, and I think Blood Barons.
Looks like a Lifebane zombie will be cast turn 3.
Whiff, but info's good. Pack Rat, Doomblade, Nightveil Spectre, and the mana to cast a Nightveil Spectre on turn 3. And Hoey's like, "Can I go to my turn? I want to cast this. I want to cast this Spectre."
And the ability to cast his opponent's spells with ease.
He opens the Spectre, takes 1 from the Cave of Koilos. Hero's Downfall awaits the Spectre. Goodbye, Spectre. In for 3.
Our hero, the Spectre.
And a Temple of Silence. Right to the bottom goes that card. 4 mana, Hero's Downfall. Banishing Light also in Matt Hoey's hand. Lays a Mutavault.
He plays a pack rat. Trying to get in the driver's seat here.
Blood Baron of Viscopa awaits from Jonathan Habel. There's a Blood Baron.
He's going to waste no time.
It's going to be very hard for Matt Hoey to get rid of that Baron.
Yeah, he's holds no answers to it right now in his hand.
Lifebane Zombie does not attack because he doesn't want to lose the zombie and then have a Devour Flesh finish off the Baron.
Yeah, Jonathan playing right by keeping him at home. He knows that this Blood Baron is going to go the whole way.
There's a hero's downfall. And a
the drawn Devour Flesh.
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
Matt Hoey just shaking his head at how fortunate he was that turn.
Habel played that really nicely, but Hoey had the answers. Is there another Blood Baron in hand, or is that the only Blood Baron he had going?
Yeah, that was it.
Well, there's a Mutavault coming.
14.
And hopefully has an answer to this pack rat.
There is
there's a Hero's Downfall, but he's not playing it.
Does he have a Bile-Blight in hand? I see the Downfall.
What is he doing?
Maybe he has a Bile-Blight. He's like, come on, I'm here, kill me. Doom takes one.
I don't think he has a Bile-Blight in his hand.
Players in the Super Invitational Qualifier.
Maybe it is.
No,
he does.
That's
He
a
definitely
Bile-Blight.
does.
Top 8. Please sort your deck.
So he's just trying to get some card advantage now.
Yeah, just trying to bait Hoey into discarding another card to his pack rat.
Of the Super IQ, please sort your deck and bring it up to the judges area.
And Matt here is deciding between Hero's Downfall and a rat. He goes with Downfall, playing it very safe.
Yep, he's just going to try to beat him by attack for one every turn, it looks like.
This turn would be a little bit of a rough one. That Mutavault on D would force him to make a rat, and then if he is playing around Bile-Blight, then it would work. And Hoey says go, and Habel says, well, I guess you're not going to fall for it. What you got over there? Elspeth, Banishing Light. Those are good cards.
Not ones that the Lifebane Zombie can get, though.
And Jonathan says, I'll attack for 2. You want to trade? Nope. Okay.
Yeah, please trade your lad for my lad.
Matt Hoey's life total has gotten down pretty low. He's at 11. So we're going to see right there, Banishing Light gets rid of that Lifebane Zombie. 2 mana up still. Thoughtseize is the card that he has drawn. Elspeth and Thoughtseize. Hoey wants to see what Jonathan has gone through so far.
And he has not seen his hand yet.
Thoughtseize. Goodbye Hero's Downfall.
That's so big for Hoey. Now if he peels the land, he can play Elspeth.
Oh, that was a pretty big pull for Jonathan. Brimaz is not going to be as good as Elspeth, but boom. Elspeth. 3 soldiers. And back to you, Jonathan Habel.
Yeah. Those 3 soldiers aren't even going to be as big a deal, though, with Brimaz making a soldier of his own every turn. I think Hoey's going to need more in order to win this game.
Well, one of the things, though, is that you're going to see the activation of that Mutavault, it looks like. In they come with a fresh cat friend. It's possible that Hoey can chump the Brimaz, double block the Mutavault. What's he going?
I think that's the play. Trade soldiers, trade 2 soldiers for a Mutavault, take 3 from the Brimaz.
That works too.
Although, yeah, I guess and then he can block with the Mutavault next turn, so Habel won't be able to attack with the Brimaz.
So
he's choosing to chump instead, keep his life total safer.
And he does get rid of the Mutavault, though. And here they come, yet more soldiers. Habel looking through, and he lays another Mutavault. Ouch. That was a very good pull. And I think it's gotten to that point where Habel needs to have a Bile-Blight or a land plus something like Blood Baron.
Yeah, he drew a Precinct Captain, which is not going to be enough.
Here comes Brimaz and friends. Activate Mutavault. We see some chumps, we see some trades, and we see a kill.
Hoey not making any blocks, so we'll get him 2 for 1. He's just content to keep activating Elspeth and chumping.
3 more soldiers. And another Mutavault.
Another Mutavault.
Wow. Jonathan Habel here, a soldier of the Pantheon in hand, not particularly exciting. In they come, Precinct Captain and Brimaz with a cat friend. Activates one Mutavault. Goes to blocks. We see the chump, the eat, and then the chump.
Interesting.
Soldier of the Pantheon joins the table. And Hoey is just building up a couple of soldiers every turn, trying to make sure that if something like a Bile Blight happens, he doesn't lose all those Mutavaults. Plus, again,
It seems like a Bile Blight would just be lights out for him anyway. It seems like a weird card to play around here.
No time.
passes the turn. Now at 8, the Elspeth is potentially able to threaten an ultimate.
This is justice.
I think there's a land in Jonathan Habel's hand and another Precinct Captain. In comes the whole team. Oh, maybe not.
This is round 2 too.
Oh, before attackers,
Doomblade.
Doomblade. Wow.
And now the attacks are now looking quite as good.
And he says no attacks. Lays a wow. And I think that might be death. Death from above. Is that what we're going to see here? 21's a lot of life, but that is 3 Mutavaults. So with the ultimate ability on Elspeth, do that, then you'd have 12 from Mutavaults and another 15 from soldiers.
If he doesn't have Bile Blight.
Yeah. But if he had Bile Blight, I think that the soldiers would just be, you know, well, let's see what happens. Boom.
He's going to Emblem.
Emblem is good. He says go ahead. Now a Bile Blight can't kill the Mutavaults. Here comes a big team.
That's going to be 9 plus 14, so 23.
And that is it.
And Matt Hoey wins.
Matt Hoey wins. Jonathan Habel defeated by Matt Hoey. This black-white mid-range defeating the white-black mid-range aggro list. That was a 3-game match all told. And Matt Hoey does a little swing of his arm to his friends that are standing there behind him. We can see in the background the other match looks like it's still underway. If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with Brian Kowal, and you can see this is kind of a classic matchup. You've got Burn versus Blue-White. This matchup is as old as the hills. And I see a packing up, pack 'em in kind of thing going on. I'm not sure where we're at. We're just coming over to this match.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what happened there.
Okay, looks like they're going back to the sideboard. I don't know what game we're in, but as soon as our spotter at the table lets us know, we'll let you know what state this game is in. You can see the Toil Trouble that was being put by Lucas Carlson.
Toil Trouble.
And he is main decking a Toil Trouble, so that could have been game 1. That was game 1, okay.
Interesting.
But now that you continue down that line,
Okay.
Do we know who won?
now I can't.
Okay, this looks like the deck that I gave to Lucas Carlson, actually. The main deck is the 59 cards I told him, and then the one floater card, Toil Trouble, as opposed to the question of Altak Bloodseeker, Eidolon of the Great Revel, or other cards. He went with the Toil Trouble, and here he is playing against Blue-White, and the Blue-White list by Michael Hamilton. This is a Quicken list with Planar Cleansings, Divinations, no finishers, so this is basically very similar to the Floke list, though it looks like it has an extra Jace Architect of Thought.
Yeah, it's a Floke deck. There's Rams on the board.
So that was Lucas Carlson taking game 1. Was that correct?
Lucas, I'm down. Michael, and it's 1-0.
Yeah, you have the sides wrong.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Michael Hamilton apparently won game 1 there. And if you saw the board at the end of the game, there was an elixir in play and a lot of land.
Yeah,
a
quite
lot
bit.
of land.
And just the game going that long, usually you assume the burn deck is lost.
This is true. Now, one of the things that gets to happen, however, is that the 7 weakest cards in Lucas Carlson's deck, that's 4 Shock and 3 Searing Blaze, they get to be replaced by 2 Chandra Pyromaster, 2 Toil Trouble, and then other cards as needed. I think he might bring in he will bring in the 2 Glare of Heresy as a hedge against Archangel of Thune and Nyx Fleece Ram. And then I usually like the last card as a Blind Obedience, just as a way to be +1ing every single point of damage, every single spell you do.
Now I know you game this deck. There's 1 Blind Obedience on the board. That's the mark of Adrian Sullivan.
Michael Hamilton, on the other hand, I think we can expect to see the 2 Archangels easily, the 4 Nyx Fleece Rams as well.
Right.
But he doesn't even stop there. He's got Fiendslayer Paladin as well.
He is set up for red. Very prepared to play against this deck.
Now, aside from that, Last Breath is almost certainly coming in. Dispel is probably coming in. Negate is probably coming in.
Yeah, he might have too many cards.
There's a lot of cards to cut.
Yeah.
Planar Cleansing is not particularly exciting in this match.
Yeah, this looks especially ugly for Lucas after board, and I worry about his chances of making the top 8 here.
And I think if you hear a little bit of bias in me and Brian Kowal's assessment of this, it could be that Lucas Carlson is another Madison, Wisconsin player, so we know him very well. He's a former Wisconsin State champion. Okay, and Lucas Carlson 7-1, Michael Hamilton 6-1-1 at this point. Michael Hamilton not able to draw. Lucas Carlson probably a little disappointed to get this pair down.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially in a matchup that can be very difficult sometimes.
It doesn't make that big a difference, right? Whether you got the pair down or not, they're both going to have to play.
Well, it depends on where they were in the standings, I suppose. They might have been able to draw in, but you're right that they were certainly in a position where he might not have had that luxury.
Yeah.
Lucas Carlson on the play here. I see a War Leader's Helix, 3 land, Chandra's Phoenix, and another land.
Seems like a pretty strong hand for this matchup.
You see a Dispel on the other side. I think I see a Elixir in the opening hand and a Nyx Fleece Ram in the opening hand. Land go. That's a Stoke the Flames. Land go.
It's a lot of 4 damage spells.
And we see the Ram. Ouch. We're going to see a Phoenix hit now.
Not the card you want to see if you're Lucas.
Phoenix for 2. 18 to Michael Hamilton. 19 to Michael Hamilton. Okay, there is even more life gain in the hand there. 2 more. Wow. Nyx Fleece Ram number 2. Ouch. Is that a skull crack? In for 2.
Lucas can only hope he has a skull crack. Yeah, he does have a skull crack.
Yeah, skull crack. War Leader's Helix, Stoke the Flames. Gains 2 life. So basically, in a holding pattern, the Chandra's Phoenix only keeping up with the 2 Rams.
Right. That could be enough, though. There's a lot of damage sitting in Lucas's hand right now.
See an Elixir of Immortality onto the battlefield as well. Says go. And Lucas says, War Leader's Helix you.
You think he'll take does not take the opportunity to crack the...
He does.
Yeah, he does.
He does. That was a very wise play by Michael. What you want to do when you're the blue-white deck here is respect how much damage your opponent can potentially do.
Yeah.
When you get that opportunity, just do it.
And don't get cracked.
Don't get cracked. Lucas is in real trouble here. I think what he's going to need to draw right now is a Chandra Pyromaster immediately or a Glare of Heresy immediately.
Or a Maelstrom Pulse.
A young Pyromancer is not a bad start.
Gets a pretty good draw.
In for 2. There's a young Pyromancer, pardon me. Jace. Well, that takes care of the tokens.
Hamilton back up to 20.
And this also means with that plus that Chandra's Phoenix is falling behind the Rams.
I was a little surprised he didn't Skullcrack on his upkeep. It seemed like a good time to do that.
And we see the Jace is knocked down there. This is one of those rare times where I like knocking down the Jace.
Yeah, I think he has to get it off the board.
The Phoenix can come in for 1. And interestingly, if he attacks with the young Pyromancer, if one of... Oh, attack with both.
Oh, he definitely should have.
You attack with both there just because it gets shrunk. If it gets blocked, then you can burn out one of the Rams.
Yeah.
Okay, another... Oh, boy, another Jace.
Yeah, there's a Dispel hiding in Michael Hamilton's hand as well. And 2 Sphinx's Revelations.
And this time, no sir to that War Leader's Helix. We can see the token there keeping track of how many elementals the young Pyromancer has made. Lightning Strike, Skullcrack in hand. Lucas Carlson in pretty poor shape here.
Yeah, it's not going well for him, to say the least.
Michael Hamilton had all of the tools he needed to be able to be in this position. Brought in his Dispels, has that life gain, actively used the Elixir when Lucas Carlson was tapped down. That's very wise.
This is a player with a healthy fear of burn. Like, he understands what could happen.
And you can see Lucas here does hit the Lightning Strike just while he's tapped down. And then Upkeep, in response to the Rams, does do the Skullcrack just to stop that little touch of life gain. And that gets a response. That gets the response of Sphinx's Rev for 2. Michael Hamilton, like you said, a very healthy respect for every point of life. And I think that's the right approach to have.
Yeah, definitely. And don't get cracked.
Land, go. No Jace to stop the elementals from getting some work done. Activate the Mutavault. In comes a whole bunch of people. We see some blocks. Take 6.
Does he have a Lightning Strike or anything? Nope.
He's got to go. I think Michael Hamilton has an Elspeth in hand. Oh, Archangel of Thune. Wow.
Well, looks like he's got the old combo all together. He's not doing it, though.
He says, let's just draw 4 more cards. That's fine.
Thumbs up from Lucas Carlson.
Looks like a Supreme Verdict, land, Jace, I think. Michael Hamilton completely safe right now.
Yeah, he's Lucas, you're never going to be under 20. That's what he's saying. Or 18.
War Leader's Helix, the card drawn here. In comes the team. Block, block. And he says, okay. And he's thinking here about helixing one of those Rams, perhaps. But he says go, saving it for better targets.
That's smart, because there's a Archangel of Thune just waiting to get dealt that 4 damage.
Jace, Michael Hamilton, comfortable enough that he can just plus the Jace and hang on for a couple more turns of safety in the plus 20 life.
Yeah, I think he's waiting for some counter backup before he plays the Angel.
He knows that if the Angel gets to live, that things are going to be basically over. And here Lucas Carlson, completely out of gas now, uses the War Leader's Helix to knock Jace down to 1. We see 3 mana. Another Phoenix, that's good.
Yep. And
both Phoenixes coming at Jace in case there's any tricksiness going on. Dead Jace. No cards in hand. Michael Hamilton
He's
incredibly healthy life total.
It's actually safe from Detention Sphere. There are none in Hamilton's deck or sideboard. Not that he knows that.
Another land. And
it looks like he has...
Verdict. Goodbye, team.
He's like, Rams, you've gained me enough life. Let's just get rid of everybody.
Passes the turn back. Lucas Carlson activates Mutavault. Attack for 2. Dispel, or sorry, Quicken. Another Verdict. Another Verdict. Ouch. And Temple for a look. Empty-handed. Michael Hamilton able to untap versus an empty-handed burn player with more than 20 life for Michael Hamilton. And we see 1, 2, 3. Looks like he's going for 4 mana here.
Is this the last Jace?
Jace plus.
It's a
Patient man here, Michael Hamilton. Oh, all the way in. And the Angel. And an attack for 2.
Yep. No hand. I guess it's time to finish you off.
And Lucas needs to kill the Angel now. And even if he does, there's still a Jace. Young Pyromancer. That's basically all she wrote, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Michael Hamilton so far ahead. Divination.
Is this just the straight-up flock list?
Not exactly. It's close, though. Attack with Mutavaults. That's not an Archangel, pardon me. That's a Fiendslayer Paladin. Blocks one of the Mutavaults.
Takes 4. Down to 15.
2 more life for Michael Hamilton. Michael Hamilton going plus on the Jace. Says go. Mutavault into play. Plus on the Jace. Activate Mutavault. Attack with Fiendslayer Paladin and Mutavault.
Yep, knocks Lucas down to 11 now.
And it's a pass. So that looks like a Stoke the Flames. Lucas Carlson in a... It is a Stoke. Casting it at the Dome. Getting back Chandra's Phoenixes if it resolves. And it does. That means 2 Chandra's Phoenixes are returning.
Yeah, Michael Hamilton still has not gotten a counterspell in all this time.
Here comes the Phoenix. Phoenix comes after Jace. Last breath. And Lucas says, that's it. I've had enough. I give.
I should have killed you. Game 1.
Lucas Carlson's burn hopes are dashed by Michael Hamilton there. That is our final match of our feature match time for this round 9.